right, welcome into Rocked On Detroit Lions, breaking news edition for the Detroit Lions injury updates. I tried to do this like an hour and a half ago. Life got in the way, but we're here now. So I wanted to get you guys an update because this is pretty telling by Dan Campbell as to what our future looks like for the playoffs. So here it is. I'm not going to mince any words. I'm not going to stretch this thing out. We're just going to get right into it. Dan Campbell mentioned during the press conference this afternoon that, I should say he updated during the press conference this afternoon that multiple players have season-ending injuries. And I don't think this is any news to me. I mean, I'm sure it's not news to a lot of you, but there's been a lot of hopium that has been put out through multiple pieces of content. And I just want to try to clear it up because what he said today was more telling than I think what people are giving it credit to be. First and foremost, the great news that we know of already is David Montgomery, right? That's the most amazing news that came out of today, in my opinion. And David Montgomery is expected to be back with the team next week. As you may remember, he went down in week 15 with an MCL injury. He went through 3 different doctors to try to get an idea as to what exactly was going to be happening with his season. Was it going to be done, or was he going to try to rehab and get back? As I reported last week and early already this week, David Montgomery is expected to be back with the team for next week's practices. He did take part in full workout before the Lions' Week 18 game, which is huge news for David Montgomery. Now, given the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs, huge role that he played on Sunday night and the way that he is playing, I wasn't as fearful of losing Montgomery given what we already had with Craig Reynolds and Jahmyr. But to get David Montgomery back on this team is huge. So extremely excited to see that. Now, on the other side of this, we already got Alex Anzalone back, right? That's a foregone conclusion here. He played excellent Sunday night. He's back. He's good. No setbacks during the game. He's good to go for the divisional round. But then there were some questions that were asked about Ennis Rakestraw. And Dan Campbell was kind of, expecting that maybe there's a possibility for him to return. He just didn't know quite yet. And what I want to do is I want to bring in the video of Dan Campbell talking about the rest of these. And I apologize for the audio because the audio today during the press conference was terrible. So I'm going to bring it in. We're going to listen to it, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, here we go. As soon as I can figure out where I put it. 1 second. 1 second. Where did I put it? Here we go.
Next week when you
I do.
Game.
I do.
Zeitler, O'Connor, and Arnold, I guess their updates on those.
We got better news on Zeitler and Arnold. I can't guarantee that they're playing, but it's much better than it appeared to be when the injuries happened. So it's positive news. O'Connor is not as positive. It's the best way to say that for those 3. Yes, ma'am.
About injuries too, but for long-term looking like Carlton Davis, Derek Barnes, are they progressing like you would think?
They're doing great. I don't see them coming back at all. Those players won't. I don't see them coming back at all.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How about Aiden?
Yeah, it's same thing. Look, I'm going to say it again. He has a season-ending injury, but if anybody can come back from this, it would be Aiden, is the best way to say it.
Dan didn't mince words, and I know that there's been a ton of hopium, so let's just start with Aiden Hutchinson. This is big because we were just talking about it, I believe, this morning, that, if there was still this outside chance. For once, I kind of put myself in that bucket of, all right, I'm going to join in the hopium, right? And I'm going to hope after seeing what happened with Alex that if the same thing can happen with Aiden, and if the team trusted everything and the doctor said he was good to go, and if the team said he was good to go, that we would have the same situation as Alex. However, we're talking a forearm versus a busted leg. And I think that's the big difference. Aiden Hutchinson has a season-ending injury. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'd say there's a 1% chance that this guy can get back. And I'm not doubting Aiden. I'm not doubting the man that he is. I'm not doubting the player that he is. I'm simply just stating the facts of what Dan Campbell has already stated numerous times. He's tried to clear it up. And then what's being reported out there. And I get it. Look, people want, clicks and everything else. I understand it. And they want to see Aiden back because we've seen the injection of energy that Alex just had this Sunday night. And man, You get Aiden back on this team, and I'll tell you what, this defense is unstoppable. But it's just not going to happen. But there was, I kind of already knew that, right? And the one that really shook me today, it wasn't Aiden, because I was already, counting my chickens on that one. He wasn't coming back. But Carlton Davis, that one just kind of broke my heart today. Carlton, we kind of expected that there was going to be a chance that he was going to come back. We're talking a jaw injury, broken jaw. He still has his arms, still has his legs, can still work out, and it's not happening. He said that it's not happening. Now, Ennis Rakestraw, you kind of heard in the same breath. And then to talk about the other guys. So it was really good to hear that, Terry and Arnold and Zietler looked fine. Positive news today. Should be playing next week. I mean, Terrian said as much on Sunday night, but now it's confirmed that those guys look like they're going to be okay. Dan still couldn't confirm if they were going to play. I'm sure he's what I call playing hide in the weenie here. He doesn't want to give out too much information. He doesn't want, all these teams prepping, thinking that Arnold's going to be in the game. And I'm sure they're going to already. I'm sure they're going to be well prepared no matter what. But now they have game tape, of this last game on what we're able to do when he's in the game. That's going to be a next week thing, I think. I think that we'll find out more, next week. Dan did say that he's given a lot of coaches like 3 days off this week. He himself has taken time off this week. So there's not going to be a whole lot for updates. And that's fine. These guys deserve a rest. They need to get prepared for the biggest game of their life. One of the next three anyway, which is the divisional round. The other one, Pat O'Connor, not getting good news on Pat O'Connor. That guy has been playing exceptionally well. And he is a guy that we need. This defensive line can't take any more hits. We need him back. I'm hoping that, when we finally find out what the real issue is here, that he's going to be able to make it back to the team. So that's really it. I mean, you guys heard what Dan Campbell said. And I mean, I think the stage is set. We know what we're up against. We know who's on the team today. And we know who's going to be here next week. I still think we're in great hands. You see what these guys are able to do Sunday night? They're going to be able to do the same thing next week as long as we can get a couple of pieces back. I think we're going to be just fine. And even if we don't, we'll see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours with Brad Holmes. If he's going to make some moves, it's going to be now. And he's going to have to bring some guys in, make some moves around practice squad and guys coming up and down to make some room on the roster to bring some guys in if there's even an opportunity. Again, I still haven't heard anything on Calais Campbell and if that's an opportunity, but I've said from the jump I never thought it would happen anyway. Even if he was released, I still don't think the Lions are going to get an opportunity to snag him. I think that there's going to be other teams that are going to want to jump ahead and not allow us to have another piece to this defense. So just not the greatest of news today. And I always hate being the bearer of bad news, but sometimes it is what it is. And for me, I just want us to have the best opportunity, going into the playoffs here. And it sucks hearing the news about Aiden and the other one, Derek Barnes. I apologize. He also mentioned that Derek Barnes, this unlikely to come back. And I reported that the other day, but you know what? Here's what I'm going to end with, or at least this is my final thought. We know that Dan Campbell's a very cerebral coach, very intelligent. He does like to skirt around as much as he can. He's very transparent, but I think he does, my take here, right? My opinion, try to skirt around as much of these questions as he can so that we get a nice little surprise later. And that's what I'm hoping he's doing here. Not so much with Aiden. I mean, that would be great. But like Derek Barnes or Carlton Davis, that would be phenomenal if we could get those two pieces back. And we hear in a week or so, or maybe after the divisional game that, hey, they're doing great now. They're doing way better than they were 2 weeks ago. And they're coming up this week. So we'll see what happens. But until the next breaking news edition, you guys have yourself a wonderful night. If you are a member of the channel, we will be doing some tape review tonight of this last Sunday's game. It's going to be open to all members. And if you haven't become a member yet, please do. It's only $3.99 a month. It supports the channel. It supports Rock Down Cancer Foundation. And it gets you some unique perks. And we definitely appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button today. And yeah, I see that my graphics off. Is what it is. Vikings aren't up next. We're done with them. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Go on Pride. Go Detroit Lions. Have a good night.